Hi all, it's Eddie from Wheelie Tropical, stood here with my absolutely massive Mother Bastiu. Today's video I'm going to do because I get asked quite a lot from my customers. They come and have a look at the garden tour of how I've made the borders look as lush as they are, and that it looks like it's an awful lot of work, a lot of cost. And really what I'm going to do today is really just inspire people just to have a go at it. I'm not a gardener by trade, I am a web developer, and this is just my method of how I've got these things in a couple of years to the way that I have. As a caveat, if you've got different methods, that's absolutely fine. This is just from my personal experience, and I just want to appeal to those that are just starting out now, or even people that know what they're doing. And maybe I'm going to introduce some new methods to you today. I'll give you a little bit of a mini garden tour, but what I want to do is just focus on really one of the borders, because I think what you should do first and foremost is just get one part looking right rather than try and tackle the garden. But without further ado, I'm going to get on with some tips today, and hopefully you'll find some benefit in watching. So as I flip the camera around, this is our seating area here, and what we look at is that the whole point of what I've done there is I've tried to lose the fence bar, the little section down here, but the Mother Sigamensis and the bamboo next to it should eat that this season. As you can see, I'll put up another clip over the screen of how deep it is. It'll say it's probably a couple of meters deep at the moment, but because when you're sitting down you've lost that fence, that could go on for miles. And I think that's the first tip that I would do, is try and get rid of the fence, because it'll make your garden look so much bigger than when you've got the fence like that. There's no illusion there as to how far that goes. So that's the first and foremost thing, is any boundaries. If you can steal some in a boundary like that, where those trees are in the distance, when I've planted up there, that kind of looks like that's my garden as well. So it gives you, especially down the end there, gives you the illusion that the garden carries on for a lot bigger than it is. So if you've got a small space, that's one way of making it look nicer. Step two really is to make sure that you get your evergreen interest in. So what I did first and foremost, and I have done a transformational video which I'll show you of how this border was built, done in 2 stages, with things like the Fatsia was put in first, and the Trachycarpus. So if you're new to this, that's the palm tree. There's the Trachycarpus fortunei. That's Fatsia japonica with a nice lush leaves on the end. So I put a couple of those in, and then I put in a Formium, which was the 10x one. You can see there the flower spike goes a good 10-12 feet up in the air. So those straight away give me an interest all year round. The Fatsia looks like that all year round. Yes, it does get blacked off a little bit if in frost, but it soon flushes again, but it'll look pretty much like that all year round. Formium looks exactly like that all year round, and so does the palm tree. So when you put those things in there, your evergreen interest on there, so you've got your kind of stability. What I would do then is I would add in some filler plants, which are down here: Colocasia, pink china, Xanthodecia, and things like the Acanthus mollis. They're nice filler plants. The Acanthus can die right back, but equally can stay out all winter as well. Bamboos are a great shape with that as well. And then things like the Euphorbia. So if you imagine with this garden now, we put in the Fatsia, put that towards the back. You've got your grasses as well, which you can see that help get rid of the ferns. That's Miscanthus and Ancistobrinus. So we've got our backdrop first, so we're talking right at the back. We get that area sorted, we then bring it forward. And what we're looking for there is, you don't have to, but I've put some of the bigger stuff at the front of the border. To the palm tree there, as you're coming down the garden, it overhangs. So again, it kind of makes you think that there's something more going on. I then put all the, like I say, the little filler plants in at the front. The Colocasia pink china will die to the ground, and then it will shoot again. It will run a little bit spread through the floor, and it will keep popping back up. I then do displays like this where you can put things in pots. So before I plant things, this is an ideal example here. I sit back for a couple of weeks and make sure that all of this stuff looks good, and that I don't want to move anything, because it's far easier when it's in a tub. Once I'm happy with all the locations of these things, I literally would just put a spade into the ground and dig them all in. I would spend a couple of weeks doing this. If you're a bit more kind of sporadic than I am, then just put it where you want and go for it. I tend to put things in pots for a while and stare at it for about a week or so to make sure that I'm happy with where everything's going. That will help with your planning stage. So if we're looking at this board, then you've got the palm trees, the fattias, the cordyline, and all of that's being put in there. Then that's a nice trip then to a garden centre where you can pick your filler plants, i.e. the osteospermum that's at the front there, or your cannas or your dahlias, just nice things that you see for, you know, a few pounds you can throw in as well. The bananas, of course, they have to be overwintered, so if that's not your bag, then obviously you can get away with musabashi just dying to the ground and reshooting again. But things like this is the last step, and I think this is the difference between maybe my garden and a lot of others, is I've used Persicaria. There's two types there. I've got Sarcococca, I've got Mahonia, and I'm really heavy on ground cover, so I will cover everywhere with bark just because I want to lose as much soil as possible, and then I will literally dig in as many plants so you can lose the edges as possible, and that goes all the way around with the Mahonias and things like that, and they're threaded throughout all of that border, so this is going to get much bigger as that's going. But again, over here I've done the same thing, so I'm trying to get rid of the floor. There's a little Mahonia there on the left hand side, and then there's Persicaria on the right hand side. You can get bigger plants like John Phillips Euphorbia as well, so that's evergreen. That takes up a substantial amount of space as well. So just thought I'd kind of give you a couple of brief tips as to what I did. Just quickly to run over that, it's get your backdrop sorted first. So your evergreen kind of filler, so like the bamboo there, it's the complete shed there. If you look around this, there's a horrible looking mess behind that. So what I've done there is just to be cheeky, I've hidden the shed completely with that. That's a fatsia and bamboo. I've then got like things like Fatsia polycarpa, the palm tree and stuff in there for evergreen interest. I've then completely got rid of the floor with Persicaria. The T-Rex there, ignore that. That's having a nightmare this year. I don't know what's happening with that, but that normally takes up all this area that looks dead lawn at the front there. And then, like I say, that completes the picture with mine, and that's the real difference, I think, is getting that ground cover in there. So hopefully you found some of that stuff interesting. Like I say, there wasn't a script, and it's probably quite obvious that there wasn't a script. I've been doing it on my 30-minute lunch break, so I just thought I'd speak to whatever comes to my mind today. But any of you that are thinking about getting into tropical, it doesn't have to be expensive. The palm trees you can pick up, especially at some of the supermarkets now, for I've seen them for like £10 and less, and that do give you a couple of foot worth of Trachycarpus. The Fatsias are a few pound and they size up really quickly. The bamboo again I've seen for £20-30, really big specimen plants as well. The Persicaria, as soon as you acquire one of those plants, you can make real easy cuttings of those and thread them through the garden. So I know some people are put off by what looks like an outrageous cost, and of course there is a lot of cost involved if you're going after the rare stuff. But if you're going after the more common stuff, the stuff that's sold in B&M all the time and things like that, some of these plants are £6 to £8 and stuff like that. And like I say, if you learn to propagate, you can get more for your money on those as well. But it doesn't, even if you kind of get one area sorted, and that's the thing that I say to people, it's daunting when you're trying to do an entire garden. You've got, like here, I've got 3 garden beds around the pond, the patio area, and things like that. Do one of them really well. So just like for me now, I would start with the focal point, which is the water feature. If I was doing this garden again, I would literally just plant all the way around that, and I'd put all of the money that I had to making sure that that area looked 100%. I would then go for the backdrop behind me here, and I would make sure that I put my budget into that and made that 100%. What I wouldn't do is put 20% into all of the areas or 25% into all of the areas, because it will still look sparse. Just do one area really well is what I would, even if it's your patio area where you're going to sit, just start off with that. And then if you get the green thing and you think, actually, I'm going to start sitting out here more, I'm not going to go out as much as like to the pubs and things like that, and spend the money that you would have spent on that on doing up your own garden. Like I say, just a couple of quick tips there. So if you found anything useful, please let me know in the comments, but feel free to subscribe and help me grow my channel. There you go, just from a sat down point of view, gives a completely different vibe of the garden. So like I say, surround yourself with plants, get one area that looks absolutely nice. Like here, it's kind of a nice little cozy nook underneath the pergola. but because you can't see the fence there, it makes it look like that's an actual proper jungle. And then, like I was making reference to, is if I was doing it again, I'd be doing down there because that's where I'm looking, and down the far end there, I'd be also giving that a bash. So at least then the two parts of the end where I'm looking are absolutely sorted, and then I would tackle the two sides. But like I say, each their own on that one. I just thought I'd give you a couple of tips. Hopefully I've inspired you and get at it.